everyone. It's 12 o'clock on the East Coast. Kate Higdon is giving us a hair tutorial. Hi, my friend. I love her curls. I have curly hair and I need to watch your tutorial. Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to the call today, the Huddle call today. My name's Lynn Knowles, and if we haven't had a chance to meet, I hope we'll get to meet at Playbook or at Epic. If we have met, it's good to see you again. I live in a small town in Florida called Tarpon Springs. And yes, we got hit by a hurricane yesterday. We got the tail end of it. We didn't get hit directly. But here I am today because business as usual. I'm stuck in my house because we're flooded all around us. But guess what? I've got my uniform on. I got up this morning and I just wanted to say to everyone, you know what? I used to work someplace that I had to wear a uniform every day and I hated it. Hated it. But I love putting this gear on for numerous reasons. Even when I'm sitting in my house, I literally feel like it's time to make the donuts. You know what I mean? I remind myself all the time that this is my business and that I get to share it with people around the world. And I can do a lot of things as long as I've got my gear on and I'm stuck in the house. I can do a lot of content for social media. But if someone wants to hop on a Zoom, I'm representing. So it just keeps my mind, like my mindset going towards, this is my uniform and this is how I show up every day. So even on a day when I'm stuck in my house and wasn't expecting to lead this call, here I am with my uniform on. Hope everybody's having a great day. Today I wanted to share something or some things with you that I'm really passionate about. And that is starting conversations, whether it's in person, whether it's through intentional being in networking groups, or if it's on social media. There's lots of ways to start conversations. And I first wanted to say to everyone, do me a favor in the chat, because this will help me know who I'm talking to. If you are an introvert, put 1 in the chat, please. If you're an extrovert, put 2. And if you're in the middle, put a 1 and a 2. Aha, somebody already got that. Christina got that, a 1 and a 2. Exactly, exactly. Lots of 1s. Okay. If I told you all when I started Prove It 5 years ago, I considered myself an introvert. Anybody believe that? I did. I considered myself an introvert. But I knew that if I wanted to get the word out there and if I wanted to become better at my craft, and I call this a craft, what I do, what we all do, our business can become a craft for us, was that I had to step out of my comfort zone. And my comfort zone was, I have a very small group of people that I'm very close with, and those are the people I talk to. I'm introverted. But outside of that circle was a whole world of people that I could start conversations with if I just got within myself and said, you know what? I want to help a lot of people. And the only way for me to do that is to broadcast what I'm doing. And the only way to broadcast what I'm doing in a conversation is to be able to start conversations. So I just stepped out of my comfort zone. And the first thing I learned, and this to me is super important, I shared this a long time ago with Mitch Newman when we were doing this little, and Nick Martinez, we were doing this little mastermind, and they asked me what I thought was the most important thing about starting conversations. And I just walked up to him and went like this: a smile. Do you know that when we smile, we magnetize people to us? We can either scare them away, like some people are like, whoa, she's smiling. But we actually can magnetize people with our energy just by smiling. So my number 1 tip is start practicing smiling, right? It's very hard for me to attract people if I'm doing this. Y'all see that? Y'all feel that? So I look people in the eye when I'm talking to them and I smile. So these are little tips. Start working on that. Even if you're not comfortable having a conversation yet, but if you can start looking at people and smiling, you might start conversations. They might start a conversation with you. But that is number one, magnetizing yourself to people with your energy through smiling and looking them in the eye. I love starting conversations with people and challenging myself now to see if I can turn that conversation into a ketone conversation. Do you hear I said I challenged myself? Because it's not always possible. Don't know who I'm going to talk to all the time. But if I'm, let's just say, sitting in a restaurant, let's just say I choose to sit at the bar usually for a couple of reasons. I want you guys to open your mind. You might love to sit at a table. That's cool too. We have some tips on that. But if you're sitting in a bar, you have direct contact with that bartender. You can ask questions. You can have a conversation, and maybe with some of the people around you. So if you think about when you're sitting at a bar, I'm going to say that I'm watching a bartender and they are like with it. They're smiling, they're talking to people, they're energetic. Do you think I want them to be a customer? Anyone? Raise your hand if you think I want them to be a customer. I want everybody to be a customer, right? Someone like that, I want to talk to them to give them the opportunity, because that's someone I want to work with. I want to work with someone that's energetic, can have conversations, hustling, right? So I like to start conversations with a bartender. Let's just say I'm out of town. And I'm having a conversation with the bartender. I ask a couple of really powerful questions, you guys. Powerful questions will get you to the promised land of a conversation about ketones. My first question is usually, I'm from out of town. I'm visiting here for a few days. What's the number one thing I should do while I'm here? And if they say, oh my gosh, I've only lived here a couple of weeks, I don't know. Well, we can laugh about that, right? I can then say something like, all right, awesome. Well, you don't know what to tell me what to do. What's the best thing on the menu? Right? When we ask questions that they can answer, then we're going to start a conversation. Also, I might compliment them on how well they're doing their job. Hey, I was in the restaurant industry for 22 years. It's hard work. You're doing a great job. It's not easy, is it? Guess where that can go to? I can then go to, how long have you been doing this? Is this your only job? What else do you do? If they say, no, I have another job. Oh, what do you do? Oh my gosh, how do you find time to fit all of that in your schedule? Right? Are you guys tracking with me? Am I making sense? Yeah? Okay, cool. Because it's not easy really to sit here and say to you guys, this is how you start a conversation. But this is how I start every conversation, is to ask people powerful questions, starting with a smile and then asking them something about themselves or complimenting them. We can all do that. If you're introverted, you can still do that. Whoops. Hold on. Silly person calling me in the middle of a Zoom. I apologize. So they probably want to have a conversation with me. Just kidding. Just kidding. So anyway, I love having conversations in restaurants and in bars, because a lot of restaurant industry people are looking to have that job as their second stream of income, or if it's their first stream of income, they're definitely looking for something, because nobody can do that for their entire life. Nobody creates, really very few people can create a retirement plan working in a restaurant. So think about that when you go into a restaurant. By smiling, being kind to the server, they're busy, they're this, they're that, ask some powerful questions, right? It can be as easy as, how long have you lived here? How long have you worked here? If I'm at home, I love to tell people, oh my gosh, I've been here multiple times. I've never seen you. How long have you been working here? Right? Sorry, my phone's blowing up a little bit. So these are ways you can start conversations, you guys. And just think about it. If you're wearing this, Not just necessarily this shirt, but if you're wearing the conversation and you've got your shaker cup with you, another great thing to do is, hey, can I get some ice and water in here? I need to shake up my ketones before I eat. What are ketones? Right? So every path can lead you into having that conversation. Like with the bartender, I'll give you an example. About, I don't know, 4 years ago, I went into a very busy bar. There was a girl behind the bar crushing it. Felt her energy right away. She's busy. We're having a conversation. And I said to her, hey, you going to do this for the rest of your life? And she said, no, I can't. I'm 40 years old. I can't do this much longer. And I said, are you open to having a conversation with me about an opportunity I have? You would crush it. You and I are the same person. I know we can work well together. She was like, well, what's the opportunity? And I said, well, will you meet with me as I'm drinking ketones? I said, it has something to do with this. She said, yeah, I'll meet with you. And she came back and I said, tell me, what would it take to get you out of this bar? How much would you want to make a year? And she was like, I don't know, $250,000. And I said, great goal. I'm your $250,000 check. Y'all, said it with confidence. Do you think she met with me? Anybody? She did. She became a promoter, right? And she's still an amazing friend. So with that said, I wanted to just talk about that a little bit. If you guys have any questions, like, put it in the chat and I'll try to look. Sarah Ramos, yeah, I know you were a former server and a stranger at her table introduced her to ketones. So this works. This works, y'all. And
hey, I do have a question, Lynn.
Yeah.
So my question is, if you're to be, I think this does a couple things. When you first started, were you as smooth as you are today? Were you as confident in this journey doing what you're doing today, or was it a bumpy road and stumbles along the way? That's my first question. I do have a follow-up to that.
Okay, no, that's a great question. And I said when I first started, I considered myself an introvert, and it was not easy for me to have conversations, but I had to force myself out of my comfort zone.
Why did you do that?
Go ahead.
Why did you force yourself out of the conversation? I'm going to just ask everybody on here. I asked Lynn to host this tonight, and I just want I want to dig in a little bit because I get to listen and I get inspired. So I thank you, Lynn. No, but how many out there right now, have a hard time talking to strangers or your family or your friends about starting this conversation?
Yeah, great.
Right? I'm just curious if you're having, like, you feel like you get stuck and you just don't know how to have that conversation or just start it. Let us know, because I'm curious, Lynn, there's a reason you tried it and got started on it. And now you're world class at it. Like, Lynn can go anywhere and create a conversation with somebody she knows, somebody she doesn't know. It doesn't matter because she practiced. So I'm just curious, Lynn, why did you even go after to try to do it? And then, what are some of the pitfalls along the way when you first got started?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I don't care what we do. Like, if we take a job, there's a training course. There's a course of learning what you're doing and like honing your craft, no matter what you do. So the reason I did was, number one, Dustin, I wanted to impact the world with ketones. I was excited about ketones. I wanted to share them with everyone. And I had to figure out how I was going to do that. Was it going to be in person? Was it going to be on social media? Was it going to be through networking? And I dabbled a little bit at everything at the beginning. And for 5 years, I've practiced, right? I couldn't turn every conversation into a ketone conversation when I first started. I remember going to the grocery store and going, oh, if I look in people's carts and see that they're eating low carb, maybe I can walk up to them and ask them if they've got a great recipe or something. So I wanted to impact people, Dustin. I wanted to have a big business. And I knew the only way to do that was to do all the things, if you will, and try to get good at some of them. So I tried different things. It took me a while, though, to be able to walk up to someone and just start a conversation. So thanks for saying I'm world class at it. What's your follow-up question? Did I answer the first one?
Yeah, you did. And my follow-up question, I think I forgot, but I just know there's people out there that are like, they're on that fence of, I need to do this, I want to do this, but I feel, like I can't do it. And I think that's where the personal growth side of it comes to. Because I know, Len, you've been world class at also coming to all of our events and growing along the way so that you can step out there. But, I would just add to that is start small, start somewhere. Like, maybe you have a goal, every week your goal is to create 2 conversations, and your outcome may be just to create the conversation. It might not be, because here's the deal. If you can't talk to your loved ones well, if you can't talk to a stranger well, then we got to make some changes if you want to try to get this voice out, get this message out to more people. And most of us are always going to sign up to people we know or have gotten to know over relationships. If it's families, if it's past, if it's, I'm texting with a bunch of high school friends right now, and I have not seen them in 25 years, but I still have a relationship with them, right? And I've warmed it up. It was awkward and hard for me to get that conversation started. And so I think sometimes we just have to set the goal, instead of it even being a keto conversation or a promoter conversation, it just has to be starting conversations, and then be proud that you did it. And I think that helps build momentum to the point where you can be world class like Lynn is now. I do have one other question. My follow-up question, as I remember this, is when you meet somebody, if it's a friend or a loved one, and I'd like you to kind of give me an idea, like, who is if I answer these 2 questions. One, when you get somebody that you meet as a stranger or in a BNI group, because you all know Lynn does a lot of different networking groups and things like that to build relationships. From the start of the group or the conversation as a waitress, how long often does it take for that person to either become a customer, become a promoter, to get on a guest call, or to get on a call? Is it an hour? Is it a month? And then follow up with that is, how long, if it's a friend of yours, what's the longest friend that or personal relationship that you introduced to prove it? And it's been how many years since they finally jumped on board? Maybe it took 3 or 4 or 5 years. So can you answer those 2 questions for me?
Sure. I think the first question was how long it takes to flip a conversation, or shouldn't flip a conversation, so someone would become a customer
or a promoter,
or get on a call or do any of those things.
Right.
So I don't think there's any set amount of time. It depends on the person. It depends on the question. And it depends on if they're ready or not. I can start a conversation with someone and introduce them to ketones, and they're not ready. But as long as I have a conversation with them that is geared towards them and their needs and what they're looking for, and they get to know my heart by me just sharing I might share something about an experience I've had, or always from my heart. I will say that, y'all. Like, people can read when you're just trying to sell them something. So I don't approach any conversation like I'm trying to sell them something. I approach every conversation as it's an opportunity for me to help them. So, I've had people buy a 10-pack from me that I started a conversation with. I've had people sign up right away, but I've also had people never get back in touch with me. We say this loosely sometimes, but it's a numbers game. The more, like, what does Nick say? The more conversations you have, right? Over time, things will turn around. Dustin, you asked the longest. So most recently, last month, I had someone reach out to me that I introduced the ketone conversation to. I've been here 5 years. She was probably someone I introduced it to about 6 weeks in, and she's been following me on Facebook. And she just got in touch with me earlier this month and said, I'm ready. Tell me what I need to do. So it's planting seeds along the way, watering them, continuing to have conversations with people that we've met and that we connect with. I try to get people on my social media right away. And this is something that I think we don't really ever talk a lot about, but getting people on my social media right away, they get to see who I am because I'm authentic on my social media. They get to see my story if they look hard enough. They get to see that, yes, I drink ketones, but I also have the passion for helping people. And my page, this is really important. My page is good vibes only. Like seriously, I had to kick some people off my page the other day because they were getting in an argument with somebody. I don't allow that on my page because I don't allow that in my life. So I think those are really important things. When we're talking to someone, if they can connect, if we can connect on social media, at least you've got that. If we can exchange phone numbers, even better. If we can connect on Messenger, super important, or Instagram, super important. And I also, like Dustin said, I do a lot of networking. So I always have a business card. I never give someone my business card until I've got their information. I might leave them with it as, oh, by the way, here's my business card and all the benefits of my products are on the back. Take a peek at that. My website's there and I can't wait to connect with you. So Dustin, I hope that helps. Is that kind of where you were going with that?
Sure. I ever ask everybody else, does that help everybody? I think sometimes, when we get so good at this, when we're polished, off on things, it's like sometimes the person that isn't is so good on it. Like, give you an example. When I started this, when I heard the Milkies talk about, or Mandy Mitchell or people like that talk about social media, I felt so depowered because I felt like I was a bumbling idiot. I felt like all my posts sucked. I felt like I didn't know how to get lighting I literally, that's how I felt the whole time. And I just want people that are listening to this that realize that, if you really want to build a business and you want to impact people's lives and you want to have success here, we have to grow. And there's some of this, you just got to get started and know that you're starting where you're starting from, and it'll get better if you keep practicing and you keep going after it. So I just want people to see that, because I do see Lynn. I mean, you go anywhere with Lynn, I mean, she's having conversations because she's just practiced so much. But if you don't start, it never gets easier later. You got to get started to make it easier later. So Lynn, I appreciate that. I know I kind of interfered and cut you off. I know we got a sale and other things to talk about, but I'll let you keep going.
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, I hope that you all are getting some value from this. And I know Nick just asked, what are some questions that I ask to start a question, that can lead to the next logical question? And you're right, Nick, it's like logical questions, like logically asking someone, where are you from? Oh, you're here visiting. Awesome. Next logical question. How long are you visiting for? Answer. Oh, wow, that sounds like a great vacation for you. Have you gone to XYZ and visited yet? Oh my goodness, you haven't? Oh, let me tell you about the last time I was there. I love this place. Do you see how that's the next logical? It's like question, answer, question, answer. And every conversation's different. So I love what you just said, Dustin. Building the muscle is what we all have to do every day, whether we're lifting weights to build muscle or we're flapping our jaws a little bit to build the muscle to have the conversation. I definitely was not a ping pong conversation person when I first started. I had to learn to do it. A lot of people walked away and I didn't get their phone number, but it didn't deter me from having another conversation. I didn't say, oh, Lynn, you suck at this, go do something else. I said, no, I'm really passionate. In my mind, I had to say I'm passionate about helping people. And a way to do that is to get better at having conversations. So those are the in-person ones. We've got a few minutes left. I hope that helped you all with just, it is that logical next question, and I also like to think about, would I want to talk to me? Like, think about that. Like if you're asking questions about the other person, everybody always wants to talk about themselves. So talk about them. Let them talk about themselves. And you'll dig and hear. That's the other good point, is listening to what they're saying. Don't think about the next question while they're talking. It's okay to have a pause in a conversation for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute. And don't worry about the outcome. We always say, you know, that we want to marry the process and divorce the outcome. So in my head, I have the outcome that I want, but I have to have the process and work the process of the conversation to get to the point of the opportunity to share what I do. All right. If in the Uber, how long have you been driving Uber? Yep. The next logical question from that answer. Exactly. How long have you been driving Uber? Is, I think, and they say, oh, I've been doing it for 6 months. Awesome. Are you from this area? I always wonder about people doing Uber that, you know, maybe they haven't lived in that area a long time. Does it take a long time to figure out like the best routes, or you just go by GPS? Starting a conversation. Then they're like, oh yeah, I'm from here. Oh, wow. Is this the only thing you do? Do you have another job? I always ask that question. If it's someone who's doing like service industry, I consider Uber like service industry type people. They're offering a service. But I always try to ask that question, Nick. Unlimited conversations, you're right. Right. Unlimited conversations with an Uber driver can have unlimited conversations. A lot of times you get in an Uber and they say, oh, they start asking you questions. Those are the people I want to have conversations with, that they're going to ask me questions, right? So we can start going back and forth with those logical next questions from the answer that they gave you, right? Okay, I wanted to talk really quickly. We talked a little bit about this the other day, but we talked about networking. And I want to say that that was one of the best decisions that I made. I think I started networking about 3 to 6 months of starting my business. I wanted to be around business people. If you have the opportunity and you'd like to learn more about business networking, the best way to do it is to get out of your comfort zone, like we talked about, and just go visit a meeting. So there's lots of networking groups out there. I don't know if y'all watched what we did the other day, but I love that you can Google networking groups in my area, and they can be huge organizations like BNI. They can be small groups that are private, maybe mom meetup group where they're all trying to have a business, or they're trying to figure out how to start home-based businesses. So you can Google those, find the time that works best in your schedule, because networking groups go on in the morning, the afternoon, and at night. And when you go with the open mind of just, let me see what this is all about. That's what I did. I had no clue how to network. I had no clue what it was about. All I knew that it was business people. When I went in, I got to observe all of these people, what they were doing, what they were saying, the energies that they had. And I knew right away that I wasn't going to be good at it. I wasn't going to be good at it immediately. But neither were any of them when they started. Don't forget that. Just like Dustin said, I was not good at having conversations when I started. That's okay. It's the process of getting better. That's the gold. So same with networking groups. Just go in and see if it's something that you think you want to have, because unlimited conversations happen when you're talking in a networking group. Every person out there is hearing what you're saying. Maybe there's 10 people in the group. Maybe there's 50 people in the group. If there's 50 people in the group and they all heard what I said, I just talked to 50 people with one 30-second. Here's what I do.
Hey, Lynn, I got another question for you, if you don't mind. This is so good. So as you have gotten out there and built this confidence, you haven't just talked to strangers, and sometimes people will listen to these Zooms and are like, I just have to go talk to strangers and talk to strangers. Well, that's not the reality. The reason I wanted Lynn to present this, because I knew when Lynn started, she wasn't confident to get out there talking to people. And there's plenty of people in her relationships in her family that she wasn't talking to for multiple reasons, right?
Mhm.
As you've done this and got out there, and I know you've talked to your relationships and your friends and families also, and I know you've reconnected with old flames of your past, not necessarily men, but old, old friends and things from the past. Um, as you've done this, has that helped build your confidence up to be able to have conversations not just with strangers, but also with the people that you've known for years? Can you touch on that? Just really like how this collectively has helped you become better at communicating with all types of people, including your old relationships or people in your current life?
That's a great question. Um, I did have a hard time. I did definitely have a hard time reaching out to people that I knew that were not that inner circle, that really, really warm market, that hot market when I first started. And there were a couple of things. At that point, Dustin, as he just said, I wasn't great at it. I didn't have the confidence yet in the product, in the business, or in myself. And that's why going to events, that's why doing the personal development has been so important in my business. And I think it's important for everyone to take the opportunity to utilize those tools that are offered for us. I think when I started feeling more comfortable with sharing the conversation with my friends and my family was when I started seeing that people who didn't maybe really know me that well were kind of interested in what I was doing. And I thought, well, if those people are interested in what I'm doing, I should have the confidence to go and talk to my friends and my family about this. Family was the hardest. Family was the hardest, Dustin. And I can remember at the beginning too, everyone saying, if you're trying to talk to a family member, just tell them how excited you are, and then utilize someone you're working with to validate and tell them all about the product and get them the information. So that's something for everyone to remember too. I think that's really important, is that my brother was the hardest. My brother lost his leg and was still the most stubborn. But guess what? His wife drank ketones and lost 50 pounds and is in amazing health. My brother is still a challenge. But I've had other people talk to him. And I can only help who I can help. And we have to remember that about our families. We can't drag them. They have to be willing participants. And just keep loving them and keep letting them see you shine in what you're doing. Maybe not the success, I don't mean that, but just shine in what you're doing with the joy of sharing ketones, and maybe they'll come along eventually. So that's how I look at my friends and family, Dustin. Again, there's still a lot of people I know that don't know what I'm doing, and that's on me. All I have to do is open up my phone and scroll, and I can probably find 10 people right now that I could get in touch with today that I haven't talked to in 10 years and don't have a clue what I'm doing. So there's resources everywhere to talk to people. And that's a conversation starter. Hey, Joe, I haven't seen you in a long time. My gosh, it's been a crazy long time. I hope you and your family are doing well. I don't know if you're following me on Facebook still. Are you seeing what I'm doing? I'd love to share it with you. They can say yes or no. It's marry the process, divorce the outcome. But I'm going to give them the opportunity to hear what I'm doing. Dustin, it is 12:30.
Yes. I know we went over. I got a little excited. I apologize.
No, I got excited too. I hope you all got some value. It is a muscle, y'all, just like James Rice would tell you, you got to get in the gym if you want to build your muscle.
Yes, yes, yes. And I appreciate you tying a bow on that of the relationships and families, because y'all know this business, 99% of it's going to be through our relationships of people we build, but we also have to build our confidence up. And something I've watched Lynn do over the years is build that confidence up of just having conversations. And sometimes the hardest conversations to have are the ones that you're the closest to. But as you build that confidence in yourself through, maybe it is through networking, maybe it is through just starting to challenge yourself to talk to strangers, it gives you the ammunition to talk to sometimes the people you care the most about. And so either way, you get to win. And that's what I like about it. It's so much. So we do have obviously a guest call tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a crew that's going to rock this thing. We also have the sale that just dropped. Let me ask you this question. Would you guys want to we could talk about the sale right now, maybe do a little action step on the sale, or would you guys think maybe we did like a different time, 25-minute pop-up Zoom where we can invite a lot of people to really push and like give some really ninja strategies on how to maximize the sale for the weekend. What do y'all, and then maybe we could piggyback and do an activity Zoom on Friday at 10 a.m. Or 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where it's all about activity. You guys, would you all like to do that? I hear the yes. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to wrap up today. Then we're going to do is just stay tuned. We're going to do a pop-up little action, or not a pop-up how to take action Zoom on the sale. And then on Friday, a good friend of mine is going to be leading an activity Zoom. I hope she's okay with it. At 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where it's just, hey, let's get to work. Let's do the reach out. Let's see who that people are that we've been talking to. How do we connect with them? What are our challenges? What are we going to push ourselves to go do? And let's have an unbelievable weekend. Kick off the month bigger than we've ever done before. Close the month better than we've ever done before. So y'all game for that? If you are, give some love in the chat. Everybody give Lynn some love. Lynn, truly appreciate you. Watching what you've done over the last 5 years has been short of remarkable, and just your glasses, your smile, and your willingness to always show up is truly remarkable. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Dustin. Hey, y'all, 25% off on all, I think all the flavors right now. So everyone can get started with the VIP plus percentage off. Of course, they're going to go back to 15%. Don't forget that, but they're going to get 25% to get started. So let's all close out the month and let's smile while we're doing it. Everybody have a great day. Thank you, Dustin. Appreciate you.